Now, almost 90% of inmates at just one prison in the state positive for coronavirus. Today, the families of those inmates plead for help, and the Department of Corrections doesn't answer us at all. COVID-19 is attacking Nevada's prison system. Today, every correctional facility in the state reporting at least one case. Near Las Vegas, High Desert State Prison with more than 170. But up north at Warm Springs Correctional, 525 active cases. Nearly 90% of the inmates there positive for coronavirus. Sharice's husband is one of them.
He started this call off with, "I'm pretty sure I have it, but I'm still waiting on test results." He stated which never came. He also told me that medical had not even been into the unit yet. After 5 days of quarantine with a deadly virus, no one even checked on them to see if they were alive or dead.
Sharice has not been able to visit, the Department of Corrections stopping all inmate visitations during the pandemic. But inmate transfers continue. Then there's this, an October 27th training for senior officers from across northern Nevada. Photos posted on NDOC's Facebook page show many officers not wearing masks or wearing them incorrectly. The director of the prison system, Charles Daniels, among them. 9 days after that potential exposure, after officers returned to their prisons, 93 positive cases are reported at Warm Springs.
Please leave your name, number, and a brief message.
Monica Triaga is not available.
Leave your name, number, and a brief message.
We've been trying to ask the Department of Corrections about that event for 3 days, but the public information officer has never picked up the phone.
Record your message after the tone.
We are calling on the governor to act. We are calling on the Department of Corrections and our state officials to intervene and do what we can to decarcerate facilities.
Today, a call for action. The ACLU of Southern Nevada and inmates' families calling on the governor to step in, enact rushed releases, allowing inmates with compromised immune systems or those whose sentences end within a year to be released now.
Not quite yet, Reed, but the governor did stress that he's very concerned about our COVID-19 numbers, that upward trajectory of COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations. And he stressed these numbers need to get better if our economy continues to operate in the way it is now.
I'm incredibly concerned about the severity of COVID-19 in our state.
During a phone call meeting for a state COVID-19 update, Governor Steve Sisolak pointed to concerning medical data. An escalating trend state COVID-19 response director Caleb Cage is troubled by.
Nevada continues to see exponential growth in COVID-19 hospitalizations. Current strategies are not successfully minimizing the spread of this serious disease.
These numbers coming just over a week after the governor's press conference last Tuesday, when he begged Nevadans to stay home for 2 weeks to curb the rising number of cases. But over 1 week in,
To be blunt, our state is surging and continues to surge.
the numbers are still high and climbing higher. The state reported an additional 1,600 new cases and 3 new deaths this morning. And just yesterday, the Nevada Hospital Association reports the state saw the highest number of COVID-19 patients to date. But when asked if Nevadans should be bracing for more restrictions, Governor Sisolak says he doesn't want to shut down the economy unless he has to.
Everything is weighing into the decisions that we have to make. It's very, very difficult. I don't want to put any more stress on our unemployment system and on our families that currently aren't working or that are working minimal hours.
Also adding he's in constant communication with neighboring state governors like Gavin Newsom of California, whose residents are high drivers for our tourism industry.
Well, this is actually the second time this group is making a plea for casinos to go smoke-free. The last time was back in July as casinos were reopening following a months-long shutdown. And they say not only is this a way to keep the economy going, but it's also a way to keep people safe.
One way to keep the casinos open, in theory, is if you wear the mask 100% of the time. And people can step outside to smoke.
Smoke-free casinos. It's a concept that the Americans for Nonsmokers Rights has been pushing since the start of the pandemic.
That we know that secondhand smoke is dangerous in the first place, but because COVID is spread through respiratory droplets as an airborne.
Dr. Constantine George breaks down 3 reasons going smoke-free can help. 1,
keeping the mask down to put the cigarette in your mouth is exposure.
2,
if you're smoking yourself or if you're in touch with secondhand smoke, you're more likely than not to cough. So if you're going to be coughing, you're going to also aerosolize these particles as well.
And 3, if you're carrying the virus, you're putting others at risk when smoking because the smoke particles travel farther when you exhale. Park MGM became the Strip's first smoke-free resort when it reopened late September. I stopped by the Strip today to ask tourists what they think.
Yeah, you don't have to go get up and, it's like the only place left that you can smoke.
I am actually allergic to cigarette smoke, so I feel like if they were smoke-free, people who have asthma or any type of breathing difficulties, they'll be able to enjoy the casinos.
Officials with newly opened downtown Circa Resort and Casino say they have both non-smoking and smoking options were allowed, and Circa has invested heavily in advanced technology designed to pull 100% of its air from outside of the building with no air recirculation like other properties. But A&R believes a smoke-free policy could be more inviting during the pandemic.
I think that the public's going to feel more, protected, or at least they'll be more convinced that they'll have more assurance that the facility is as safe as it possibly can be.
A quiet Thursday at Nevada Brew Works on Main Street. Owner Jason Taylor soaks up as much business as he can.
I don't think that we're going to have a full shutdown. I'm preparing for perhaps a bit more restrictions.
He's anxiously awaiting an update from Governor Steve Sisolak. The end of the governor's 2-week plea for Nevadans' Stay Home 2.0 is drawing to a close. Taylor sees the surge unfolding. The situation hasn't improved yet, but he also has bills to pay.
Can we survive a 2-week shutdown? Yeah, sure. I think that's pretty reasonable. If we had to do that, we would do our part. If it starts to become more like a 4, 6, 8-week shutdown, similar to what we saw in the first go around, that starts to become much more complicated.
I wish I had a crystal ball.
Amanda Signorelli, a managing partner of the Golden Steer Steakhouse, says the uncertainty is unnerving. However, her team is ready to pivot to e-commerce and delivery if they have to close their dining room again. Not ideal, but she says they'll be able to manage.
That if there is a shutdown, we've done a lot to make sure that we can still do a great job by being able to provide a service outside of the 4 walls itself, but providing it online and then providing it virtually as well. And that's been something we've spent a ton of effort really thinking through. So if you can't come to us, we can still come to you.
No word yet on what the governor will do. Taylor and Signorelli are just speculating. But Stay Home 2.0 comes to an end in a few days, and the governor has said we'll likely get an answer soon.
I don't know what the answer is. I just hope it's not too severe.
In Las Vegas, Max Darrow, News 3.